Session 5 of Active Listening Mastery 15 Practical Lessons for Better Communication. The Power of Silence and Pausing. Imagine that someone you care about says, "I don't know if I can handle this anymore." For a few seconds, the room becomes quiet. What do? Many people immediately begin speaking. They offer advice, ask several questions, tell a similar story, or say, "Everything will be okay." They may have good intentions, but sometimes they are not responding to what the other person needs. They are responding to their own discomfort with silence. We often learn to believe that a good conversation must keep moving. We think that quick answers show confidence, that constant talking shows interest, and that silence means something has gone wrong. But in active listening, silence is not always empty. A thoughtful pause can give another person time to think, feel, remember, and find the words they truly want to say. In this session, we will explore the power of silence and pausing. You will learn how to stop feeling pressured to answer immediately, how to use silence without making a conversation uncomfortable, and how a few calm seconds can create deeper understanding. Silence becomes difficult when we interpret it too quickly. If someone stops speaking, we may assume they are upset, bored, confused, or waiting for us to continue. Sometimes that assumption is correct, but often the person is simply thinking. Imagine a student speaking with a teacher after receiving disappointing results. The student says, "I studied hard, but now I'm wondering whether I'm good enough for this subject." The teacher may feel pressured to respond immediately with encouragement, but if the teacher pauses, maintains a calm and attentive expression, and gives the student a few moments, the student may continue. "I think I'm also afraid of disappointing my family." That second statement reveals something deeper. The problem is not only academic performance, it is also fear, pressure, and the desire to make loved ones proud. If the teacher had quickly filled the silence with advice, the student might never have expressed that important feeling. A pause can create space for meaning to develop. This does not mean that every silence is useful, or that listeners should remain silent for long periods without showing attention. Helpful silence is active. You are still present. Your body language communicates that you are listening. You may maintain comfortable eye contact, keep an open posture, nod naturally, or use a calm facial expression. Your silence says, "I am here." You do not have to rush. This is very different from distracted silence. Looking at your phone, turning away, or appearing impatient may make the speaker feel ignored. The value of silence comes from the attention inside it. One of the most useful moments to pause is after someone finishes speaking. Many people begin preparing their response before the other person has completed their thought. Then, the moment the speaker stops, they immediately begin talking. This can cause them to miss important details or respond to only part of the message. Instead, try a short pause of 2 or 3 seconds. During that pause, ask yourself, what did this person actually say? Then ask, what might they be feeling or needing? This small habit can improve the quality of your response. It gives your mind time to move from reacting to understanding. Imagine a workplace conversation. A team member named Daniel says to his manager, "I'm concerned that this deadline is unrealistic. I've been working late and I'm starting to make mistakes." The manager may feel pressure to defend the deadline immediately. She might say, "Everyone is busy and we all have to work harder this week." But if she pauses, she may notice that Daniel is not simply complaining. He is warning her about workload, fatigue, and possible errors. After a brief pause, she could respond, "It sounds like the workload is affecting both your energy and the quality of the work. Is that what you're experiencing?" Now Daniel has an opportunity to clarify. The conversation becomes a problem-solving discussion instead of an argument. Pausing does not make a leader appear weak or unprepared. In many situations, a thoughtful pause shows care and self-control. A person who answers every question instantly may appear confident, but speed is not always the same as wisdom. The same principle applies during conflict. Suppose a woman tells her partner, "When you ignored my messages yesterday, I felt unimportant." Her partner may immediately say, "I was busy. You're making this a bigger problem than it is." That quick response may protect him from feeling blamed, but it also dismisses her experience. A short pause could help him notice his emotional reaction before speaking. He might then say, "I can hear that my silence hurt you. I was busy, but I understand why it felt like I was ignoring you." The pause creates room between emotion and reaction. It helps people choose a response instead of speaking from defensiveness. This is one reason silence is powerful. It can reduce impulsive communication. When emotions are strong, our first response may be shaped by anger, fear, embarrassment, or the desire to protect ourselves. Pausing gives those emotions time to settle enough for thoughtful listening. You can use a simple internal process. Stop, notice, understand, and respond. First, stop yourself from answering automatically. Then notice what is happening inside you. Are you becoming defensive? Are you eager to give advice? Are you uncomfortable because the other person is emotional? Next, focus on understanding the speaker's message. Finally, respond in a way that addresses what they actually communicated. This process may take only a few seconds, but it can change the direction of a conversation. Silence is also helpful when someone is experiencing strong emotions. If a friend becomes tearful while describing a difficult experience, you may feel pressure to say something comforting immediately, but too many words can sometimes interrupt the person's emotional process. You might quietly remain present, offer a tissue if appropriate, and allow the person time to continue. When they are ready, you could say, "Take your time. I'm listening." That sentence is short, but it communicates patience and support. However, silence should not be used as punishment. The silent treatment is different from a thoughtful pause. When someone intentionally refuses to communicate in order to control, hurt, or pressure another person, silence becomes a barrier. Healthy silence creates safety. Punishing silence creates uncertainty and fear. The difference often depends on intention and communication. If you need time during a difficult conversation, explain it clearly. You might say, "I want to respond carefully, so I need a moment to think." Or, "I'm feeling overwhelmed, but I don't want to avoid this conversation. Can we continue after I have some time to process?" These statements make the pause understandable. They reassure the other person that you are not abandoning the conversation. Silence can also improve learning. Imagine a teacher asking a class a challenging question. If the teacher answers the question after 1 second, students may learn that they do not need to think for themselves. But if the teacher waits patiently, more students may organize their thoughts and become willing to participate. This is sometimes called giving people thinking time. A pause communicates that thoughtful answers are welcome and that speed is not the only sign of intelligence. The same idea applies in meetings. After asking, "What risks have we not considered?" a leader may feel uncomfortable when nobody answers immediately. But filling the silence can prevent others from contributing. A calm pause may encourage someone to share an important concern that would otherwise remain unspoken. Of course, some pauses can feel awkward. The goal is not to turn every conversation into long periods of silence. The goal is to become comfortable enough with quiet that you do not speak only to escape it. If a pause lasts longer than expected, you can gently support the conversation without taking control. You might ask, "What are you thinking about?" Or say, "You can take your time." You could also reflect what you heard. You mentioned that this decision feels difficult. What part feels most challenging? These responses invite the speaker to continue without forcing them. Your body language also matters. During a pause, avoid repeatedly checking the time, crossing your arms tightly, or looking around the room. A relaxed posture and attentive expression make silence feel safer. Try practicing this skill during ordinary conversations. When someone finishes speaking, wait for 2 seconds before answering. Notice whether they continue. Notice whether your response becomes more thoughtful. You may discover that people often add important details when they are not immediately interrupted. You can also practice pausing before giving advice. When someone shares a problem, ask yourself, do they need a solution or do they first need to feel understood? Sometimes the best first response is not advice. It may be a reflection such as, "That sounds frustrating," or a question such as, "What kind of support would be most helpful right now?" Silence does not mean that you have nothing to contribute. It means that you understand that communication is not a competition to speak first. Listening includes knowing when your words are useful and when your attention is more valuable. The next time a conversation becomes quiet, resist the urge to fill the space immediately. Stay present. Observe. Give the other person room to think. Give yourself time to understand, then respond with intention. A few seconds of silence may help a friend express a hidden concern, allow a family member to process an emotion, encourage a student to think independently, or prevent a disagreement from becoming more painful. The power of silence is not found in saying nothing. It is found in making space for something meaningful to be heard. As you practice active listening, remember this: you do not have to answer immediately to show that you care. Sometimes your calm attention is the most supportive response you can offer. If this lesson helped you see silence in a new way, please like the video and share it with someone who feels pressure to fill every quiet moment. Subscribe to the channel for the complete Active Listening Mastery series, and continue to the next session where we will build another practical skill for creating clearer, deeper, and more respectful conversations.